I heard the noise. I listened to the noise. Do you like your job? Do you like your work? There are many confusing words in English that students use incorrectly. Let's fix that today. Today you'll learn how to use these 42 confusing but very common English words. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. First, let's review 21 confusing English verbs. First, let's talk about hear and listen. And let's review all of these as a quiz. Here's the question. I couldn't the speaker because of the loud noise. Do you need hear or listen? I couldn't hear the speaker because of the loud noise.
Can you hear me?
Hear is your ability to perceive sound naturally. So it's one of your senses. This is a passive activity. It doesn't require conscious effort. You could say, did you hear that car alarm at 2 a.m.? I didn't want to, but because I have ears, I heard it. At the beginning of a presentation or a phone call, you can say, can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? How's your ability to perceive me? Now, you could also say, did you hear? Did you hear that Jennifer is hosting a live lesson next week? Notice here, it's to hear information. Did you hear Jennifer is hosting? That's the information. Now, in this case, it's one's awareness or knowledge of news, information, or rumors, and this is usually learned passively. Let's discuss listen. This is when you actively pay attention to sound. So it requires your effort and intention. So if I ask you, are you listening to me? Yes, you can hear my words, but are you concentrating on them? Are you listening to me? So this is very different from can you hear me? Or you could say, I always listen to classical music while I work. So it's your choice. You're actively listening.
Are you listening?
I'm listening.
Now, as a challenge, I want you to create one sentence using these confusing words. And you can do this for each set that we review. So, can you think of one sentence that contains both hear and listen? Here's mine. Share yours in the comments. I can hear music in the background, but I'm not listening to it. So my ears can perceive the sound, but I'm not actively paying attention to it. I'm not listening to it. Don't worry about taking these notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Now let's review say and tell as a quiz. Can you, me, what happened at the meeting? Which one do you need? Can you tell me? Tell me what happened at the meeting. Tell requires a person as the object. So the fact that the quiz question had me, that is all you need to know to choose tell. Tell me what happened. You should tell your boss, someone else, you should tell your boss that you need a day off.
You should tell her.
Say does not require a person as the object. What did you say? If you use an object, you need the preposition to. What did you say to her, to your boss? Or you could say, she said we should work late. Now here, we is not the object. We is the subject of the clause. We should work late. This is what she said. She said we should work late. So you cannot say, she said me to go home. She said, I should go home, or she told me to go home.
Well, Boss told me to go home.
Also remember, say emphasizes what is being expressed. Tell emphasizes the person receiving the information. And also, you tell the truth and you tell lies. So with these two words specifically, truth and lies, you use tell. That's the correct choice. Now it's time for your challenge. Write one sentence that uses both say and tell. Was that easy or difficult for you? Here's mine. She said that she always tells the truth. So she always tells the truth. This is what she said. Now let's review speak and talk. Here's your question. She 3 languages fluently. This is easy for you, right? She speaks, of course, she speaks 3 languages fluently. Did you conjugate that verb? All of these are verbs, so you need to conjugate them as well. Just like tell is the correct choice with truth and lies, speak is the correct choice with languages. You speak a language. You improve your speaking skills, right?
Speak to me.
What if I said, let's speak about this later. Let's talk about this later. Both of these are grammatically correct. Speak is more formal and is often used in presentations. For example, she spoke about the importance of adopting AI. This sounds like she gave a speech or she gave a presentation on this topic. She spoke in a formal context. So you might ask, who's speaking at the conference next week? You wouldn't say who's talking. Talk is used in casual conversations. He talked about the importance of adopting AI. The same sentence, in this case, we're using talk. So this could be at a meeting or just in casual conversation. You could ask someone, can we talk about this later?
Can we talk?
Can you write a sentence using both? Here's mine. We talked about how she speaks 5 languages. How did you do with this one? Are you enjoying this lesson? If you are, then I want to tell you about the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program where we study native English speakers from TV, movies, YouTube, and the news so you can improve your listening skills of fast English, expand your vocabulary with natural expressions, and learn advanced grammar easily. Plus, you'll have me as your personal coach. You can look in the description for the link to learn more, or you can go to my website and click on Finally Fluent Academy. Now let's continue with our lesson. Now let's review see, look, and watch. Do these confuse you? How about this question? I always TV after dinner. I always watch TV after dinner. Always is an adverb of frequency, so the present simple. See, this is passive. Just like here, see, this is one of your senses, so it's passive. It involves perceiving things naturally. I can't see without my glasses, so it's your sense of sight.
I can't see!
Or, did you see that bird? You could say, no, but I heard it, your ability to hear, your ability to see. Now look, this is focus effort to direct your eyes at something specific. You need to look at your audience when you're speaking, because if it's an audience, it sounds like it's more formal. That's why I used speaking. Don't just look at your notes. Look at your audience. Conscious effort.
Look at me.
Now watch. This is when you continuously look at something and something that changes or moves. For example, you need to watch the kids closely. So continuously look at them with focused effort and the kids are moving around. Now, because of that explanation, this is why we use it with movies, TV shows. What did you watch last night? I watched TV, a movie, or one of Jennifer's YouTube videos.
Watch me.
How about this one? Do you want to see a movie or a show this weekend? This is very commonly used by natives. Keep in mind that the focus is on attending. Do you want to go to a movie? Also keep in mind this isn't used with TV. So you wouldn't say, do you want to see TV this weekend? So now that you know the difference, it's time for your challenge and you need to write one sentence with all three. See, look, and watch. Can you think of one? This might be a little more difficult. Take your time, but here's mine. He looked at the painting, so conscious effort, then saw the artist watching him from across the room. He saw the artist, so he perceived with his eyes, he saw the artist, and what was the artist doing? The artist was watching him, so continuously looking at him. That was difficult for me to think of that sentence, so don't worry if it takes you time. Let's move on to bring and take. Here's your question. I'm in the living room. Can you me some water? Which one do you need? Can you bring me some water? Bring, this is movement toward the person. The water is moving toward me, the person who asked.
Hey man, can you bring me a sparkling water?
Take is movement away from the person. For example, in a restaurant, a server, a waiter, waitress could come to you and say, can I take those dishes for you? Now the server used take because the dishes are moving away from the person being the customer.
I will take the free food.
This is why you can't say, can you take those files here? Because here means movement toward a point. Can you bring your files here? Because the files are moving toward a point. Same thing with don't forget to bring your passport to the airport because the movement of the passport is going toward the airport. Now share your challenge sentence in the comments. Again, this wasn't easy for me. I had time to think of these. Here's mine. Could you bring the documents to my office and then take these files back to yours? Because the documents are moving toward me, but then these documents are moving away from me. Let's review fit and suit. Here's your question. Do you think this color, me? Do you think this color suits me? Suits me. Fit is the correct size or shape. You could say, this jacket doesn't fit me. It's too tight. You need a larger jacket. Or you could say, this jacket fits perfectly. It's the correct size and shape. Or there's no way that box will fit in the trunk. The size of the trunk is too small for the size of the box.
It's not gonna fit.
Suit is about complementary style or appearance. So if something is complementary, it means it goes well together. You could say living downtown really suits her. She loves the hustle and bustle. Do you know what that is? Hustle and bustle. It's the busyness, the chaos, the noise, but she loves it. So that's why living downtown complements her. It goes well with her personality. It suits her. You can use this negatively and say living in a small town didn't suit her. Didn't because it's in the past. She already moved to the city. You could put it in the present simple and say doesn't suit her.
Stop, it doesn't suit you.
Now we use this with physical things, clothes, jewelry, makeup, hairstyles. For example, having a mustache really suits him. It goes well with his face or with his style. Now it's time for your challenge sentence. Here's mine. This jacket fits perfectly, but I don't think it suits me. So this means the size is correct, but the style isn't correct. Now let's review learn and teach. I hear mistakes with these all the time. Can you, me, how to use the present perfect? This should be easy, right? Can you teach me? Can you teach me? First, let's talk about learn. This means to acquire knowledge or skills, of course. The mistake I hear is my students say, I'm learning this lesson. This is incorrect. You should say, I'm studying this lesson, or I'm learning different phrases in this lesson. So you're gaining a specific skill or knowledge. The knowledge represents the phrases. I'm learning phrases in this lesson because you're not gaining skills of the lesson in general. It's the information in the lesson. That's why the sentence doesn't work.
I'm learning.
Teach, of course, is to give knowledge, give skills to someone else. She taught me a lot. Or you could say, I learned a lot. Can you teach the new intern how to file the reports? So this isn't specific to a teacher. I'm sure you teach your kids, your friends, your coworkers, things all the time. Now it's challenge time. Create one sentence using learn and teach. This should be easy for you, hopefully. Here's mine. I'll teach you the basics of chess so you can learn how to play on your own. Learn how to play. That's the skill or the knowledge you're acquiring. Now let's review lend and borrow. I know this confuses a lot of students. Can you, me, $200 until Friday? Can you lend me? Lend is to give something to someone temporarily. For sentence structure, you can use the model to lend someone something. I lent, that's the past simple. I lent my brother, someone, my car, something. You can also lend something to someone. I lent my car to my brother. Both of those are correct.
Larry lent Barry $5,000.
Borrow is to receive something temporarily.
Can I borrow this?
Now for sentence structure, you borrow something from someone. I borrowed this car from my sister. Can you borrow me some money is not grammatically correct. Can you lend me some money, or can I borrow some money from you? Are you ready for your challenge? Share your sentence below using both lend and borrow. Do you have one? This was a fun one for me to write. Here's mine. You can borrow my clothes, but there's no way I'm lending you my car. And that's probably true. Let's review remember and remind. Can you, me, to call the client at 3 p.m.? Can you remind me to call the client? Remember, this is when you recall information yourself. I just remembered I need to call the client at 3 p.m. Or I need to remember to call the client at 3 p.m.
I just remembered.
Remind is to make someone else remember something. I reminded him to call the client at 3 p.m., but he still forgot. He didn't remember. Can you remind me when the meeting is? This is the same as saying, can you help me remember this information?
Don't remind me.
Here's a great one. I keep a big bottle of water in front of my computer as a reminder. A reminder is the noun form of the verb If you want to use the verb, you could say, the bottle reminds me to drink more water. Now it's your turn to share one example using remember and remind. Take your time. Remember, I thought of these before this lesson. Here's mine. I rarely remember my appointments. So can you please remind me to go to the dentist at noon? Now let's review wait and stay. You should at home today if you feel sick. You should stay at home. Stay at home today if you feel sick. Wait means to pause or delay until something happens. For example, wait to buy the computer until Cyber Monday. This is the same as saying don't buy the computer until Cyber Monday. Or you can say, I've been waiting for 20 minutes.
Do you know how long I've been waiting for this moment?
Stay, think of this as to remain in one place, location. Stay in the restaurant, I'll get the car. Or you could say, wait until I get the car. Wait to leave the restaurant.
Wait for me.
Your final challenge. Share one sentence with wait and stay in the comments. Do you have one? Here's mine. I'll wait for the package at the office while you stay with the kids. So stay, remain in one place. Amazing job. Now let's review 21 confusing English nouns. First, let's review job and work. And let's review these as a quiz. Here's the question. She applied for a new at the law firm. A new job. Did you get that?
I applied for a new job.
Because job is a specific position or employment where a person earns money, of course. Work, though, is about the general effort, tasks, or labor. So not the actual position, the tasks. For example, you can say, do you like your job? This is asking about the specific position. Now you can also say, do you like your work? And this is more focused on the tasks you do, but ultimately they're the same and a native speaker would use them interchangeably. However, you cannot say, she got a new work. She got a new work. You can't say that. You must say, she got a new job. Now this is because work is a collective noun. So in the example sentence, it uses a. You can't use a with work because work is a collective noun. So remember, you would say, I have so much work. Work would stay as the singular because it's a collective. I have so much work to do. Now remember, work is also a verb, to work. So you could say right now, I'm working, the verb in the present continuous. I'm working two jobs, two positions to make ends meet, which means to make enough money to survive.
I have to work.
So now I'll quiz you again. He's looking for new, but finding a good takes time. What do you think? He's looking for new work because remember, work is a collective noun and collective nouns don't take articles. So he's looking for a good job. Don't worry about taking notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Now let's talk about story and history. I hear mistakes with these two all the time. Here's your quiz. The book is based on real, not fiction. On real history.
This is history in the making.
So a story is a narrative. It can be real or it can be fictional, not real, and is told for entertainment or information. Now, history, this is a factual record of past events. So you could say the story about the company dates back to 1920. Dates back to means starts in 1920. Now, you could also say the history. You would need the preposition of. The history of this company dates back to 1920. So with the story of the company, you're going to hear a story, characters, themes, but the history is going to be the factual record. You can say he told an amazing story about his trip to Africa. And notice here, you tell a story. That's the collocation. You can also say we learned about the history of the English language today. There are many different verbs that go with history. For example, you learn, read, discover, discuss, debate, and many other choices. How about this quiz question? He told a funny, but it had nothing to do with actual. This one's easy, right? He told a funny story. It had nothing to do with actual history, the record of past events. Number 3, wedding and marriage. Do these confuse you? How about this quiz question? Were you invited to their wedding? Because wedding is the event.
We are invited to Suki's wedding.
It's a ceremony where two people get married. So it's an event. It takes place on a specific date and time, location. Marriage is the relationship between two people after they're married. So you can ask, when is your wedding? Or when was your wedding, because it's in the past. But you can't say when is or was your marriage, because it's not an event. So there's no specific date of it. If you want to ask a question like that, you actually have to change the structure and say, how long have you been married? So to be married, this means you're legally husband and wife. Now you can say their wedding didn't last long. So the actual ceremony where they exchange rings was only 30 minutes, 1 hour. Their wedding, the event, didn't last long. You can also say their marriage didn't last long, but that means their relationship didn't last long, so they are no longer together. How about this quiz question? There was beautiful, but there has been full of challenges. Their wedding, the event, was beautiful, but their marriage, their relationship after the wedding has been full of challenges.
Bad memories, bad marriage.
Let's talk about these two confusing nouns. I'm not going to say them because the main confusion is the pronunciation. The Sahara is the largest in the world. So which one? One S or two S's? One S is desert. Dry, arid land with little rainfall, which describes our quiz. The other one with two S's is dessert, a sweet dish eaten after a meal. Of course, you know that. So let's focus on that pronunciation. So one S, dry, arid land, desert, desert. So notice the syllable stress is on the first sound, da-da. Desert. And then two S's, sweets, chocolate, dessert, dessert, dessert. The syllable stress is on the second syllable, da-da, dessert. So make sure you practice that pronunciation. So let's practice this together now. After crossing the desert, we enjoyed a delicious dessert. Make sure you shadow my pronunciation.
Let us enjoy the wonderful dessert.
Number 5, let's talk about price and cost. Here's your quiz question. The of studying abroad is high when you factor in tuition, housing, food, and transportation. Here, because of the context, we need cost.
The cost of everything is too high.
Because price is the amount of money needed to buy something. So there's a tag or a sticker and it has the price. Cost, on the other hand, is total. So think of total expenses, including hidden or indirect factors. Now, in a store, you would absolutely say, how much does this cost? But keep in mind that the word cost here is a verb, and this lesson is about nouns.
That's gonna cost a lot of money.
You would not say, how much does this price? Because price is a noun and not a verb. You can absolutely say, what is, and then the noun. What is the price of the laptop? Now you could also ask, what is the total cost of the laptop? And many speakers will add the word total in front of cost. So that means the price of the laptop, tax, warranty, accessories, anything else that's included. That's the cost. Now remember, as a verb, you can absolutely say the laptop costs $1,200. But remember, cost there is a verb. Let's review these together as a quiz. The of the car was low, but the long term of insurance and maintenance is high. The price of the car is low, but then the total cost, insurance, maintenance, so the second one is cost. Number 6, chance and opportunity. This job offer is a great for your career. What do you need? A great opportunity.
It's a great opportunity.
Chance is a possibility or probability of something happening. It sounds quite neutral, but opportunity, this is a favorable situation for achieving something. So the word opportunity sounds positive. There is a 30% chance of rain tomorrow. You wouldn't say opportunity. You would use chance because you're talking about probability. Now you could also say there's a chance, a probability I could get the job, not the work, the job. Now you can modify chance. You can say slight, small, or low, good, fair, or moderate chance, or high, strong, or excellent chance. There's an excellent chance I'll get the job. Now you can say, I hope I get the job because it's a great opportunity. So to modify opportunity, we generally use positive words such as great, amazing, excellent, perfect, or golden, a golden opportunity. How about this quiz? This scholarship is a real, and you have no of winning the lottery. You have no chance of winning the lottery. So go for the scholarship because it's a great opportunity.
Small chance, but a chance.
Number 7, loan and debt. How about this? We took out a to buy the car. We took out a loan.
Got it covered. I took a loan.
So a loan, this is money borrowed that must be repaid. You can get this from a bank, a friend, or a family member, or a private company. Now debt, this is the total amount of money owed. You take out a loan, that's the most common collocation. You take out a loan. You can also use get, you get a loan. But with debt, you simply have, you possess it, you have debt. Now, why do you have debt? Because you took out loans, so they go together. You can say, I have so much debt. Debt is a collective noun, so notice no S and so much. Or you can say, I have so many loans I need to repay this year. Loan is a regular noun, so it's singular, plural. How about this quiz question? The helped him buy the car, but now he has to manage his The loan. It's something, the money you borrow, the loan. But he has to manage his debt, the total amount of money he owes. And notice that pronunciation. Did you notice the B was silent? Debt, debt, debt.
I'm deep in debt.
Now let's talk about these two. Again, I will not say them because the confusion is in their pronunciation and similar spellings. So here's the quiz question. Can you pick up my from the dry cleaners? Can you pick up my suit? Suit.
I'll go get my suit on.
This is a set of matching clothes. It can also mean a legal case, but most commonly it means a set of matching clothes. But the other word is pronounced suite, suite. This is a set of connected rooms, often in a hotel, but can also be in an apartment complex or condo complex. It can also be a collection of software. So you'll probably hear that word with software as well. So now let's focus on the pronunciation with these examples. He wore a navy blue suit. So repeat after me. Oot, oo, oot. Suit, suit. He wore a navy blue suit to the interview. Our hotel suite. It's the exact same as chocolate is sweet. The hotel suite had a beautiful ocean view. How about this quiz? Why are you wearing your in our? What do you need for pronunciation? Why are you wearing your suit in our suite? Your suit in our suite. That's one for you to practice. And of course, take it off and relax for a bit. We're on vacation. Our next confusing pair, again, the confusion could be because of the spelling and pronunciation. So I won't say them. Here's the quiz. Please keep your for reimbursement. Please keep your receipt. Receipt. There is no P in the word. Receipt.
No receipts.
This is a document that proves payment. So you get it when you buy something. Now, reimbursement means you give this receipt to your employer for the laptop and they give you the money back. That's reimbursement. Now, recipe. Repeat after me. Recipe, recipe, receipt, recipe. So notice receipt, you have the word seat in it. Receipt, recipe. Recipe, of course, is instructions for preparing food. You can absolutely say, I lost the receipt, but make sure your pronunciation matches what you say, because you can equally say, I lost my recipe, but the meaning is very different. You can also say, I need a receipt, or I need a recipe. So grammatically, often both sentences are correct, but the meaning is very different. Let's try this quiz. I kept the for the ingredients and I followed the. Did this confuse you? You keep a receipt. The receipt for the ingredients, it shows you what ingredients you bought. Maybe because it's for reimbursement. And you follow a recipe. You follow instructions, and a recipe provides instructions. Did you get that one?
Did you follow the recipe?
Number 10, again, confusing spelling, confusing pronunciation, totally different meanings. I won't say them yet. What can we do to improve workplace? Workplace morale. Morale, morale.
Washing the gossip and lifting the morale in the house.
Now compare that to moral, moral. The sound is less stressed. I don't open my mouth as wide. Moral, moral. Now a moral is a lesson about right or wrong. it's also standards of right or wrong. So you can think of it as ethical lessons or ethical codes. It tells you how to behave. Morale, repeat after me, morale. So notice that long al, morale, morale. This is the level of confidence or enthusiasm in a group. It's very common in business. You can think of it as the team spirit or the team mood. So the moral of the story, the lesson, the ethical lesson, the moral of the story, which is very common, the moral of the story is to always tell the truth. Or parents should teach their children strong morals. As a noun, you can have singular or plural, morals. How about this one? Employee morale. Remember, this is commonly used in a business context. It can also be used in a sports context, anything where teams are involved. Employee morale improved. So the spirit, the mood, the confidence of the group, of the team. Employee morale improved after the company gave bonuses. Or you could say, after the CEO quit, the company's morale dropped to an all-time low. So the mood, the spirit, the confidence of the team was low. How about this quiz? The leader's speech boosted the team's and taught an important lesson about? Well, the teams, that tells you it would be morale, and taught a lesson, moral. So also look for those keywords that tell you which one you need.
It's called the moral of the story.
Number 11, again, pronunciation and perhaps spelling. So here's the quiz. The of the apartment complex are very friendly. The residents. This is people who live in a place. But when you have an S on that noun, meaning more than one, it sounds exactly the same as residence, which is a place where someone lives. So the pronunciation is virtually identical when resident is in the plural form and it sounds like residence. So this might be confusing in spoken English. You can say his official residence, place where he lives, his official residence is in New York. You could also say residents of New York, people who live in New York, residents of New York must pay a new tax. Now you can use this in the singular and there's less confusion with the pronunciation. She's a resident in the new senior residence, the place where seniors live. Or in the plural where it sounds similar, identical, they're residents in the new senior residence. How about this quiz? The new has space for 50. The new residence, place where people live, has space for 50 people, so 50 residents.
Maisel residence.
Our final confusing pair, weather and climate. What's the like today? The keyword is today. So today we need weather because weather is for short-term conditions in a specific place at a specific time. Climate is, of course, the longer-term conditions in a specific place, and it's over a significant period of time, 30 years. So you can, of course, ask, what's the weather like in Singapore? If you ask that, you're basically saying today or right now. If you ask, what's the climate like in Singapore, you're going to get a different answer because that means in general, not necessarily right now, in general. So both are grammatically correct, but the answer you receive will be different. Now you could say we had to cancel the event because of the weather. The event takes place on a specific day, so it's not climate, it's weather. But you could make a general statement and say we have less outdoor events because of climate change. So that's talking about overall and not necessarily now. How about this quiz? The in the mountains changes quickly, but the is generally cold throughout the year. Well, throughout the year tells me that you're talking about climate, and changing quickly, well, that tells me you're talking about current conditions, so weather.
Hey, John Boy, how's the weather?
Think of everything you learned today. There are many more confusing words in English. If you want me to make another lesson like this, comment let's go, put let's go in the comments. And of course, make sure you like this lesson, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And here's another lesson I know you'll love. Watch it now.